my messy hair. I'm taking a bath right after I do the dishes, which is what you're going to be doing with me today. Yes, and as a topic, disco god. Disco god. Disco god? What the heck are you talking about? God at the disco? Disco balls and religion and God. Ooh, so before I get started dishwashing, I'll show you this disco ball, which needs to be washed and give it a cleaning. I'll put on my gloves. Now, disco god. Okay, let's think of the idea of God as valid, rather than discussing whether or not there is a deity. We could talk about that in some other, sorry, I had to reach behind the camera, some other form of conversation about whether there is a deity. Most people who believe in a deity do so because of some internal experiences they've had, not because everybody told them to, I think. I think when people believe in a God, it's because they've had internal experiences. So, disco God. What the heck am I talking about? Disco balls and God. All right, so as you know, disco ball is covered in reflective mirrors. You hang it up on the ceiling, and it puts pretty little light spots all over the room. Now, if you stand and look at the disco ball, one of those squares on the ball will show you what the light source looks like. Now, if you were in the dance room and it's dark there, and you look directly at the light source, like that, that's all you can see is the light source. Everything else, you're blind. You're going to stumble in the dance. You're going to run into people. You're going to hit people. So you want to know what the light looks like. But if you look at it, you're blind. And you're blinded for a while. You know, unlike the camera, the eye holds the retinal image for a while. You can't see a blasted thing, and it takes forever for your eyes to close. So if you look directly at the light source, you become blinded. Not so if you look at the light source through the disco ball. If you look carefully at the right spot, you could see the light source, but you don't get blinded by it. You can still see the other dancers. You can still see the dance floor. You can still function on the dance floor. So, the disco ball represents all of the different ways people have come up with to see God. Whether it's Christian religion, Buddhist religion, although Buddhists don't really believe in a God. Just put that out there. They believe in spirit, but they don't believe that there is one particular specific spirit overlooking the whole shebang, except in sense of a communal aggregated spirit, like the queen of a colony, if even that. Again, that's a different topic for another day, and I will definitely have to cover it. But so, you know, whether you're one of the three religions that come from the desert, you know, Jew, Christian, or Muslim, Shinto, Hindu, pagan, heathen, agnostic, just believe in something. A religion is a way of looking at it. It's a way of showing it to you. Now, if the disco ball, the religion, the disco ball, the ball of religions, stands directly between you and the light source, not only does it not reflect the light source, but it eclipses it as well. And all you see back is yourself. Well, this disco ball's a little too small to give you a good reflection, but you get the general concept. All you'll see is yourself reflected back. You won't see God. So, your religion must never stand between you and your spirituality. It must serve as a tool to help you see it. And which religion, because each one of these mirrors, think of each one of these little tiny squares as a single religion. You know, this one's Buddhist, or Baptist. This one's Baptist, this one's Protestant, this one's Shiite Muslim, this one's moderate Muslim, this one over here. Oh yeah, there's this one over here, that's Satanism. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Each one of these religions is one of the mirrors. And the one that you pick to see God is dependent 100% entirely on where you're standing in the room, your perspective. The best one for you is based on your perspective. Now, you might be standing in the same spot as a whole lot of other people, and you go to church with them every Sunday, and you all see God in the same, you all see the source from the same facet in the same place, and you all feel wonderful for it. That's good. And you dance together, and you play together, and you have community. That's what religion's supposed to give you. It's not supposed to make you feel less. It's supposed to make you feel connected. Reflect the light of God while connecting you to the people in your community. I don't think I can riff for 20 minutes on it. It's too simple of a concept. But because of this, I keep disco balls around as my icons. Not a cross, not the five-pointed star, not the Buddha. I mean, I actually have bits of all. I've gotten a little allergic to Christianity after years of being treated abusively by Christians. So I don't have a cross hanging on my wall. I don't have a crucifix, but I've got a Buddha on my fireplace, and I've got green taro on my fireplace. She was a gift from some Buddhists that it was funny. They made me pay a nominal fee for it. I mean, she's worth way more than I paid, and I'm not really sure why they said, no, you must give us $25. I assume that had something to do with their culture and their religion and our relationship, and she was well worth $25. You want to see her? She's gorgeous. I will take you to her. Come with me in the dark. See, I've had to set up lighting to try and look bright enough for you folks. Anyway, there she is. Isn't she lovely? She's got all her fingers and she's porcelain. Unbelievable. I've decided when the time comes to move into a bus, she's not coming with me because she's too delicate. I'm going to walk up to the doors of the new Buddhist temple in town that I have longed to go inside of. Never had the courage to go. I'm not Oriental enough, and I don't speak the language, and I don't know the customs, and I don't know how to be polite, so I don't go. I'd really like to, and besides, they're on Sunday mornings. Look at me getting emotional. That's how much I wish I was part of a community. Okay. I get emotional easily. It's head injury, actually. No, seriously. I've got a scar on my head over about here. And it comes from having been hit by a wagon wheel when I was 4 years old. And I was reading up on neurology and brain stuff one day in this book, and it was giving examples of how brain lesions can affect behavior in spite of the intentions of the person. And it said, for instance, a lesion in the, and I don't remember the name of the region, the particular region where my lesion is, can cause a person to be unable to help crying. I'm like, that's why I cry so easily. I mean, yeah, I have a lot of strong emotions, but I cry way too quickly. And I suppose it humanizes me a little because, you know, when you're smart, people think you're inhuman. So, anyway, I'm going to bring her to the temple, and I'm going to gift her to the temple, and then I'm going to let go and not worry about whether they kept her in the temple or sold her at a yard sale or somebody bumped her and smashed her. That'll be someone else's fault, problem, not mine. I'll just bring her to the temple and give her a new home there. Just walk in and not explain myself. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to do with that. So, yeah, I keep disco balls around the house because to me, they represent all faiths, all religions, all icons. See, this is the worst part about crying, is your eyes swell up, your nose swells up, you get red spots here, and you get red in the nose. And if it's bad enough, even your mouth swells up and gets red. And I get such a laugh out of these actresses crying pretty in shows. It's like, you know, does anyone actually cry pretty? I don't think so. I don't think it's a real tears until your nose is swollen. So, disco god. Disco god. Woo! Hey, let's do it. Disco god. Woohoo! Disco god. Woohoo! I got a disco god. Woohoo! Okay. That's enough of that. I hope you thought that was funny, because I only did it for the comedy. Yeah, I've got a lot of lighting effects in my house. I got a thing for colored lights that change. I've got an hypercube. This thing is so awesome. Look at this thing from ThinkGeek. I wanted it for 10 years. It's been on the market. It was $100 though, so I'm spending $100. Finally did it. Finally did it for this year, for my Christmas present to myself. Or from him to me, or I don't know. Christmas doesn't come here anymore. I used to try. I would drag all these pretty things down from the attic, and I'd set them all up and clutter and crowd the house, and it'd be hard to get at stuff and hard to get around, and the front door would be obliterated, and it'd be like, oh, I hope we don't have a fire because we can't get out. And then I'd drag a turkey out of the freezer, and I'd make cranberry sauce, and baked potatoes, and I'd invite people to come over and eat my food, and in the end, I always felt lonely and unloved anyway. I'd buy presents for people and get nothing in return. One year, for example, this is one of those pathetic stories. I bought presents for a whole family because I'd been invited to join a family Christmas, and I was thrilled. I was going to get to witness family Christmas with kids having presents and all that fun stuff. So I bought presents for everybody, one for everyone. Guess which ones they decided they could open on Christmas Eve? The ones from Yolanda. Their guest tomorrow. Yeah, so I get there Christmas Day. Nobody's bought me anything because I'm not a member of the family, and well, we're all poor. You know, the fact that I was unemployed and living on welfare was not really germane to the subject of poverty. That, you know, like, I chose to get those presents, so, you know, what was I expecting? Well, I don't know. I wasn't expecting that they'd all be opened, and I wouldn't get to witness the opening of the presents, on top of not having anything to do. So I sat there while the whole family, in one mass swoop like buzzards on a carcass, grabbed presents out from under the tree and started opening them up in front of themselves, everybody all at once, as I sat there with nothing in front of me, smiling broadly, not even able to see their responses to the presents I bought. That was the last time I ever tried joining a family for Christmas. I thought, you know, real gracious of them to invite me, but I rather wish they hadn't. So, that's the kind of Christmases I remember. Christmases where I do all the work and I get nothing but the results of my work. Well, you know, I can do that in July. I don't need to do it in December. Sometimes I do. But I've already got pretty sparkly things up. I've already got pretty colored lights up. I don't need to put them up because it's December. I put them up because I like them. I enjoy them. If I want turkey, I bake a turkey. If I want cranberry sauce, well, at the moment I actually have some in the fridge. And the people I do it for, doesn't seem to matter. They don't care. Generally only get thanks if I demand it. So I certainly get no reciprocation. So I'm not doing Christmas anymore. I gave up about 2 years into my marriage when I realized that the only way I was going to get any presents was if I went out and bought them. It's like, you know, this year I'm like, okay, I want a Christmas present. Go buy me, you know, I want this Fitbit. And I showed it to him. And I was going to wait till Christmas for my Fitbit, till Best Buy put it on sale. And it was $30 cheaper. And I thought, you know, if history is any tell, he will never get around to buying it in the first place. I'll be buying it in January. And right now we can save $30 on it, so screw it. I'm going to go buy it. And I just went and bought it. So much for the Christmas present from Dan. And is it really all that fun if you you know, specified what to give? If I don't specify what to give, I'm likely to get another package of bungee cords and some yellow nylon rope. Oh yeah. That's the kind of presents he gives. And I know I'm being picky. I don't want cheap crap. I've got so much tchotchkes and cheap crap around. I don't want cheap crap. So, yeah, I would rather get nothing. And that's what I get. And I'm complaining about it right here in a video. And I complain about it on my blog. And I complain about it to people who don't know the people I'm complaining about. But I've been trained not to complain to the people who need to hear it. Because then they will call me ingracious, tell me I'm not worthy and I don't deserve it. The end result will be not a remediation of the relationship, but me painted as an even more evil person for complaining about the evil treatment that I think I'm seeing. You know, you're too sensitive, your feelings are hurt too easily, the whole 9 yards. I'm so tired of it. So, I mean, a gift is supposed to be something that people give from the heart. And I try to give my gifts from the heart. And do I have expectation? No, actually, I don't. Do I have desire? Yes. I wish people would give me presents back. Don't you? So this started with a thing about Disco God and wound up being a thing about giving presents and expecting things. Yeah, so I'm still giving some presents out. I've got some presents to give out. And one of the people has already received a present and in fact gave me something, and she gives me something all the time. She's always giving me something. She brings me something back when she goes on a trip. She brings me something when it's my birthday. She brings me something at Christmas. And I give her something when it's her birthday, and I give her something when I've been on a trip, and I give her something at Christmas. And it's lovely. You know? It's nice, and I don't always necessarily want what she gives me, or even keep it, but I say thank you. And I give her a present, and hope that she likes it. What? You tell me, what else are we supposed to do? That's the extent of it. You know, the other people will give me, well, one of the other people will give me nothing because I will not be giving it to that person because that person has just been stricken off my friend list for being just too toxic. And I'm not going to get into that. It's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking when you have to let go of somebody who's toxic. It is, because you invest in people. And when they're toxic people, they will push and push and push. And you invest more. And you communicate. And, you know, you forgive and you invest and you communicate and you forgive. And then one day you go, you know, I'm going to start pushing back. And that's when you find out that, no, they are going to keep pushing you until you give up on them. Either because they don't recognize boundaries, or because they don't want your friendship, actually, on account of whatever head trip they're going through, it gets in the way. Or maybe because you just weren't that important after all. You know, and it's none of your business why. It's your business to worry about your mental health and take the steps you need to protect it. So, it doesn't matter why. I've got an extra present to give away. It's been sitting in my fridge, a big box of chocolates, and I haven't been able to figure out who to give it to. There's people I want to give it to, but there isn't enough to give it to the people I want. I'd like to bring it down to the clinic and give it to the people at the clinic, but it's too much. It's too much for any one of them and not enough for all of them. So I'm like, oh, what do I do? Do I split it up and try to turn it into multiple small gifts? Do I give it to somebody else entirely, and if so, who? Do I just keep it for myself? I don't know. There's your 20 minutes. Mostly it was about gifts when I intended it to be about Disco God, but it turns out that Disco God is a pretty short subject. Disco balls. Religions. The only time your religion doesn't work for you is when it stands directly between you and the light source.